Welcome trainers to the ultimate guide for Alolan Ninetales in Pokemon Unite. Alolan Ninetales is an attacker type Pokemon with ranged attacks and yet can also play as a high damage per second support type Pokemon as well, making it one of the most versatile options that can be chosen for this game. Now first up, we're going to take a look at each and every ability so that we can understand what this Pokemon is trying to do, and I will also tell you which kit I think is optimal. First up, let's understand the passive of Alolan Ninetales. It is a very strong passive and is one of the reasons that this Pokemon is very good in game. Alolan Ninetales uses the snow mechanic. Now you'll notice as we get into some battles and we start fighting this dummy, snow is marked on top of enemies that you have hit with a little snowflake. It takes 4 counts of this snow and a Pokemon becomes completely frozen, unable to move or act for 1 second. So be sure to stay aware of that little snowflake to see how many more counters you need to activate the frozen effect. Now, Alolan Ninetales does have this passive where snow is flung every 6.5 seconds, giving you 1 count of snow on an enemy Pokemon for free. Also, every third basic attack, like every other Pokemon in this game, is boosted, and in this case, every third basic attack also flings that snow, adding a snow counter. So it gets pretty easy to get a frozen Pokemon just for doing what you're normally doing with Alolan Ninetales. And also, each and every ability that deals damage for Alolan Ninetales will also add one of those snow counters. So this is why you're getting freezes basically for free for doing things you already want to be doing to enemies anyway. Now let's start taking a look at the actual abilities now that we understand the snow mechanic on Alolan Ninetales. First up, at level 1, you're going to have the option of Powder Snow and Icy Wind. I do like to take Powder Snow, which attacks with a chilly gust of powdery snow, decreasing the movement speed of opposing Pokemon for a short time when it hits. I think it has a slightly higher damage and also has the area of effect, and this is what I prefer to pick up at level 1. Now at level 3, our other option is Icy Wind, as I said, and Icy Wind attacks with a gust of freezing air, dealing damage to opposing Pokemon in the area of effect and decreasing their movement speed for a short time when it hits. Icy Wind is a short, narrow tunnel of icy wind that goes out, and it also pushes Pokemon back, which is very nice. So those are nice. They're pretty basic damaging moves. One decreases move speed, one decreases that pushes them back, and that's how you work with Alolan Ninetales. Now another reason that Alolan Ninetales is a really nice choice is she actually gets some moves very early. So right at level 4, fairly early in the game, we're going to be able to upgrade one of those moves. Now here's where it gets interesting. You're going to choose between Avalanche and Dazzling Gleam, and basically there are 2 builds for this Pokemon. You can go for a damage mage type build, which I think is the more situational, or you can build the Dazzling Gleam, which is a more fairy type build, we can call it, which is going to be a little more support role, but which is also, I think, the ideal build for Alolan Ninetales. Now I will say, the best choice here is Dazzling Gleam, so let's talk about that first. In most matches, you should be choosing Dazzling Gleam. So this attack attacks with a powerful cone of blinding light, leaving opposing Pokemon unable to act when the move hits. So it gets you a nice stun and is also a nice, pretty big area of effect, and that is why Dazzling Gleam is a little bit support-like. It has less damage than our other option, but it also is able to shut down 3, 4, 5 Pokemon for a brief moment, which can be really big in a team fight, and the range on it is not too bad. Now, I will say for the attack build, the only time I find myself picking up the more high damage build is if for some reason when I'm soloing, I end up where it's me and a Slowbro, or me and an Edelgast. Someone else where they're not going to deal a lot of damage and I need to pick up that responsibility of getting those kills. And if that's the case at level 4, I'm going to take Avalanche. Avalanche attacks with a gush of chilly ice toward the designated area. It forms an ice wall that cannot be passed through on land temporarily, and after a short time, this wall melts and collapses, or I think a more accurate term is it explodes, dealing damage to opposing Pokemon that are near it. So it actually has 2 opportunities for damage, as well as can still control the battlefield and wall off certain areas. So as you can see, it shoots forward a gust of wind, creating a barrier, and if the Pokemon that is an enemy is near it when it collapses, they will take additional damage. So that's the high DPS route. Now again, we're going to have an early next level. At level 6, we get to finish off our build. And let's first talk about Aurora Veil, which is going to pair best with Dazzling Gleam for that support role, which I think is ideal for this Pokemon. So Aurora Veil is very nice. It creates an aurora in a circle around you. This does a lot of stuff. First up, it reduces damage received to you and any allies in this effect. While you are inside of it, your move speed is increased and your basic attacks become boosted attacks. Now keep in mind, one of the reasons this is really nice is now when you're inside the Aurora Veil, every boosted attack adds a snow counter, making it super easy to get a lot of freezes off while you're in the Aurora Veil. Now one thing that can be really frustrating as Alolan Ninetales, and maybe you'll notice this, is that sometimes when you're playing in low rank, your allies won't actually spend very much time in your Aurora Veil. So hopefully you can find someone to play with, or you might just have to go right up and really hug your allies so that they get inside the Aurora Veil, even if they don't understand that it's boosting them. But if you have a smart teammate and someone that's doing strong basic attacks, Aurora Veil, very, very powerful, and it pairs nicely with that Dazzling Gleam as we said before. So that is my recommendation, to take Dazzling Gleam Aurora Veil, but it does take a little more work from your allies, so to be fair and try it out, whatever you think. Now our other option, and this is what I will take, as I said, if I need to be the damage dealer, I will take Blizzard. Blizzard summons a Howling Blizzard and 2 blasts in front of the user. The first blast deals damage to opposing Pokemon in the area of effect and decreases their movement speed. The second blast deals damage in the area of effect and also shoves them back. They're almost instantaneous. You don't notice the 2 blasts very much, and you pretty much always get the knock back no matter what. Now here's where it also, why I said that there's basically 2 options, and it's because if the second blast causes the enemy to hit an obstacle, it actually deals more damage to the enemy Pokemon. So this pairs so nicely with that Avalanche that we talked about, and it's a little one-do combo where you summon your Avalanche behind the enemy, and then you use the Blizzard to push them into the Avalanche barrier, which slows them down, and then the Avalanche really melts, and you actually do a ton of damage. So there's definitely an argument that the Avalanche Blizzard combo is very good, and it certainly does a lot of damage, so just be mindful of what role you need to play whenever you're deciding if you're going to go with the more support role or the more damage dealing role with Alolan Ninetales. I have quite a bit of fun playing both, and one of the benefits of playing this Pokemon is that you do get to mix up your gameplay style once in a while when it's needed. Now let's take a look at the Unite move at level 9, as all Pokemon get. Alolan Ninetales gets Snow Globe. This attacks with a chilly snow and ice, dealing damage to a Pokemon in the area of effect around you. It will deal damage to everyone that's close to you, and it also deals increased damage to opposing Pokemon that are frozen. I will say be very mindful of that last bit. This Unite move is somewhat mediocre, but when you combine it with a Pokemon being frozen, it does give you significantly more damage. So I will say, if you are able, try to wait until one enemy is frozen and then pop off that Snow Globe for added bonus. It's also nice when you're in a team fight and you can hit everyone if everyone is up there together. So Snow Globe, a very nice move, and is going to be really strong. So those are our moves. Now let's keep on going and let's take a look at the item builds we're going to take in on Alolan Ninetales before we jump into the arena. Now up first for our first item, I always like to take a classic Floatstone. The Floatstone is just such a nice item for anyone. Increased movement speed is really nice in MOBAs, and I do find myself rotating a good bit as Alolan Ninetales, and you get that nice little attack boost, which can be nice as well. Now up second, I'm going to take what could be a questionable pick, but what I think is just the neutrally best item for just about any Pokemon, and especially if you're free to play, you should probably consider upgrading this, but I'm actually going to take the EOS Cookie. Now this raises your HP by 150 every time you score a goal for a maximum of 6 times. That is a huge boost to HP, and it also is rewarding you for scoring. And it has some pretty nice base stats to come along with it as well. So up second, we're going to take the EOS Cookie. And then last but not least, also maybe a controversial pick for this, a lot of people are going to throw on potentially some Wise Glasses, but I really prefer the Focus Band. This is going to allow you to restore some of your HP, but also have the benefit of adding some attack, and Alolan Ninetales does rely on that basic attack, especially whenever you end up going with the Aurora Veil build. You want your basic attacks doing a lot of work for you. So those are our 3 items that we're going to hold, and for my in-game item, I just like to take the good old eject button. Alolan Ninetales does have a lot of ability to push and block off walls and things like that, but there's no dashes or mobility, so eject button is the way to go. Now once we get into the arena itself, let's take a look at how we're going to be playing this pretty awesome Pokemon. Now as I said, you're going to first pay attention to what your role is based on who your partner is in lane, and then you will choose whether you're going to be a high damage build or that slightly more support build, which still does a good amount of damage itself. Now I recommend you're going to go top lane with a strong attacker and take your support build in the ideal situation, and just like all other Pokemon, be looking to farm early. Your first 2 abilities are really just going to give you a little bit of damage. They're going to be able to have the ability to push back, but once you get to level 6, you're going to be looking to support your allies. I will just basically talk about how to play if you're playing the support role and not worry about the high damage role, as you can figure that one out. So for this support role, you're really looking to stick close to your ally, whoever that may be. Preferably it's someone that's relying on basic attacks, and you're going to want to get that Aurora Veil off anytime they're looking to engage with the enemy. You're also going to want to use Dazzling Gleam to protect them from those pesky enemy abilities, and really just you're focusing on keeping that person alive, maybe getting off a freeze when it's crucial, and doing all that. Now the other thing I like to do with Alolan Ninetales is, depending on how good my jungler is, anytime I need to go back to the base, I sometimes like to swap down and then go bottom and give a little support bottom just to mix up the team fights and give my team the edge, and then I'll rotate back up. Now as a support / damage building Pokemon, you're in a bit of an odd spot. You are looking to support your allies, but also don't be afraid to go get kills or to farm yourself, because your team could need to rely on you for that damage as well. In team fights, it can be very strong to lead off with an Aurora Veil so that your team can be protected, particularly if the enemy is engaging into your team so that all of your team can be boosted. Don't forget, anyone inside your Aurora Veil is also getting a huge defense boost, which is just astronomically strong in those team fights. So be sure, if team fights are going on, that you are there as Alolan Ninetales. Also look to use that Snow Globe ability to finish off any opponents that are getting low whenever the fight is going long. And also remember to protect your teammates that are getting hit by abilities with that Dazzling Gleam. Now that being said, that's about all for Alolan Ninetales today. Let me know what you think. Have you been playing this Pokemon? How's that been going? Also, please consider subscribing if you like this channel. Now, if you jump into your next battle, I hope it is the best one yet. Have a good day, my friends.